The
Okay.
broadcast is
Can
live.
everybody can everybody see us? I don't know. Is that too much? That's better. Hi. Is Can y'all tell us if you can see us? Sorry, I had some technical issues. Um Andrea, can you grab this link and share it in the thing? Is it the same link that it would be the same link that
I
invited us?
did.
Yes, would it? Or
I did share it. I can hang on a second. I'll go back in because I had to go up quite a ways because
here,
there's been a lot of chatting.
yeah, let me type down
But I
here. Can you
copied
see
it
us?
because when you said, okay, here's the
Okay,
link.
Donald says he can see and hear us both. Okay, so we're on.
Okay,
So Donald, if you want to, if I don't know if our link shared, you can share it again someplace.
there.
Okay,
I
first
just
like
shared it.
says okay. 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 All right. So okay, and then I just saw that you shared it there. Okay. So anyways, good morning. Good nooning. That's good morning for you.
Good morning for me. Yes, it was a scramble. I was out. I was out. I was watering and fertilizing the garden and watering flowers and sat down to have coffee and it was like, oh my gosh, it's
I
almost 9.
know.
So
I know. I don't honestly I don't even know how I've created 600 and plus songs around the world because when every time I get in front of my computer, if there's been any kind of time lapse at all, I don't know shit. Like I'll come down here and I'm like, what is that button for? I'm I'm like an airhead. I know I'm really smart, but then I'm sure that we can all relate. Like, hi Cindy. So so I know that we're all really smart because that's why we're here because we're the awakened people. But I swear to God, sometimes like I'm like, what is this newfangled thing in front of me? I'm like,
yeah,
I think being on a farm kind of numbs me down to tech, and I know everything about like the plants and the trees and the horses, and I can tell you like when you know like where the rabbits are going and everything. But I come inside and I'm like useless for tech anymore.
when
Mm.
I was in high school, I helped build my own computer. So
Oh,
and
geez.
I've stayed tech savvy until about 10 years ago, and now it's like, Joseph, how does this work? What am I supposed to do? This is frustrating me. And I
Yeah.
used to. I'm not even hanging on by my fingernails anymore. It's just gone way beyond me with the technology. So, and I know it's going to go exponentially through the roof with all this Tesla stuff that's coming out.
Yeah. So I just want to like there's first of all, okay. So let's discuss earthly matters and then let's go into like down the rabbit hole because
Okay,
Donald
I have to say
brought up
something. I just noticed something.
what do I have a
See
hair
my
out of
shirt?
place?
No,
Oh.
see my shirt. It looks
Oh
like
my
rain. Look
god.
at your shirt. Isn't that cool?
Whoa. My boobs are bigger than yours. No, kidding.
Well, you never mind.
Yeah. Mine are real. No, kidding. That's funny. Yeah. And I mean, if you were to see my closet at any given point, as probably I'm not bragging really. It always sounds like I'm bragging. It's more like the more stuff you have, the more you have to move, you have to pack up and move if you have to move, or the other harder things, the bigger things, you just have more to dust, really. And so I
Oh,
mean, what are
yeah.
possessions? But if they inspire you, which my stuff does, our stuff does inspire me a lot. That's why it's there. But I mean, I'll be rifling through. All my shirts are in a big. I mean, all of my clothes are in a big room, and then I have two other rooms with fur coats. I mean, it just keeps going, right? I've over 700 pairs of shoes.
Yeah. Well, I was
700.
headed in that direction because my feet aren't that much smaller than
But
yours.
have I worn those shoes in like
No,
5 years? No.
no.
I mean,
I wear
so
I
it
wear
doesn't.
3 pairs of
Yeah.
shoes right now. That's it.
Yeah. So, anyways, that was a lot, but this shows our common synchronicity. I'm gonna get my other finger up there. But it's hard to go backwards, and you're right
Yeah.
there. So this shows our synchronicity. We are of one mind, and this is, I think this is an American eagle. I don't know. I mean, I just chose. I don't know what's in the back. Look, there's a plane. I mean, I don't know what's going. Look, I don't know what's really here. I mean, I just went like through time. I'll be on tour or whatever, and I'll just be someplace. Something will captivate me. I'm like, ooh, I want that, you know. But usually stuff like this, I'll wear at pressers and stuff, and there'll be a blazer over this. So you don't really see this T-shirt. It's just for what captivates, like on a camera shot, you know. Like
Yeah.
what? Anyway, that's a lot about nothing. So let's hear what you had to say about the American audits, states wise, and what's going on.
Well, just a few days ago, I was, I'm constantly surfing on Telegram and looking at everything that's being posted. And somebody posted a link to all the different states and all the different audits that are going down in each state.
Yeah.
And I clicked on Oregon and went into this group, got accepted into this group. And there's 3,000 people that have joined this group. And everyone is interested in auditing Oregon, and they've decided that they're not going to go county by county, that they're going to go by the state.
Right.
And there's all kinds of things going on. There were representatives from Oregon that went to Arizona, and there was kind of a chat about that. And they're not sharing what they found out or any other information. That Oregon was one of the first states to be taken over by the cabal, from what I read in the chat.
Right.
And that, the mail-in ballots that they started about 17 years ago was part of that steal, because Oregon was a conservative Republican state until late 70s. And through the 80s, it just kept getting more and more liberal. And each one of these people that got elected, the representatives, even if they're a Republican, they were Rhino. I mean, it's just been and Washington's the same way. And California, because, Ronald Reagan was the governor of California, and the whole West Coast got taken over by the cabal, and all of their voting precincts got infiltrated, and machines got put in, and the vote's been stolen for all these 30 years or more, maybe even 50. I don't know. But
I don't know. Just to break in, I don't know if we have Signal people, which I know that there's repeat crossovers. I don't know if we have the Signal group. Could anybody, or Andrea, could you guys share the link to Signal group
I can do that
as well? Because I think somebody just asked where we were, but I mean, we'll see what we can do. Sometimes we understand that your schedules, by the way, we understand that everybody's schedules, that just because we have a lot of people that could be here right now, we know that in time, organically, that we're going to dispense information, and then you can come and get to it in your own time. And so ultimately these videos get, hundreds. Ultimately, some of my only early live ones have 50,000 by now, because then I hyperlink it to other things. Now remember that link that you just shared was a link to a broadcast that had been arranged, and this one I created outside of that.
Okay, so that's not the right link?
No, I think that the link. I'm so ignorant when it comes to this stuff. Why don't we not worry about it, and we'll just
have people share the link in the chat.
Yeah, you guys, if you're watching, just share the link over. If you're in both Signal and the Messenger group, just share it over. Both. Donald, you're in both. So Jennifer says she would like to join me on Signal. Well, Jennifer, if you're watching us now and you had that and you just typed that, then just share that link over on Signal. I think that's how it works. I don't know. I'm trying to be smart, but anyway. We're gonna get through this. Okay, so let's talk about
Happened to
audits.
your
So
technical assistants?
have anybody? Everybody left
Are they busy today?
me. Yeah, they're busy. Yeah,
Okay.
all my people.
Yeah.
So audits. So the system has been in place for a long time. Well, I mean, this goes part and parcel and hand in hand with that. Okay, thank you. So somebody just shared over there. So anybody on Signal, good. So it's picking up now. So we're talking about the American audits. Let's just stay on that and for a second. But I mean, it's really it's not any different than all of this, which is a perpetration and a ruse of propaganda against the people or humankind. To try to limit their information, like called censorship. I mean, it's censorship in all forms, and now it's thrust into our face with this particular U.S. election. It was undeniable the amount of it's called whoa, earthquake, California. Hey, we have breaking news. There's an earthquake. No, there's not. I could shake my camera too. I could shake my camera. Whoa, what's happening here? Anyway, that it's called a thousand cuts to a swindle. And before this particular election, they cared about like covering their tracks, and they were really kind of trying to be
Going
really
behind the scenes.
Not this time. It was like nah.
Blatantly.
We got away with it, and then we're meant to the futility of the audacity that if you even mentioned it, that you're ridiculous. Of course, he got 81 million votes.
Conspiracy theory.
Retard from his basement that they never did campaign. He had 6 honking cars, and most of those were staffers. And Trump is going out 50,000 people live, another 20,000 outside of the venues, the hangars. I mean, in every single American city, we know exactly what happened. So now it's taken far too long, and we're all like just exhausted from I mean,
the waiting is, if you're not a patient person and you don't
go, why Trump, why didn't if what people say is, if any of this is true, then why didn't you just take control and not put us through all this stuff? People talk about the people that have died now from having to be forced from their jobs to take the vaccines. The children who have been masked up, and their brain and their whole center of feeling like everything's going to be okay has been destroyed. Why was all of this necessary? Couldn't Trump and the military have just gone in and said, no, we see the servers, we see the real numbers, this is it, and then just that's what all of us think. That's what all of us think.
To catch everybody, and this is why stuff keeps getting pushed back, is because you can't arrest somebody and convict them of a crime if they haven't committed that crime yet. And what's happened is that all these people that have been arrested, and they're either standing trial, they're waiting trial, whatever. Then the next layer of people come up to the surface and do the same thing, and so they have to be caught. And so it's like, so now this is like the last layer of cabal that keep trying to take the money, take the same people in the media are there, but they could be clones, they could be other actors wearing a mask, pretending to be that person.
We've shared all those videos. This last 6 months since or 7 months now, since June, or 8 months now, since November 3rd, but the run up to the election, and then January, Well, six with the big insurrection that Pelosi and Soros funded and planned. Um, I mean,
And they're now investigating. The
yeah,
perpetrators of the crime are investigating the crime. What do you think the evidence of that is going to be?
yeah.
And all the
So
people that were that went to the that were arrested are still sitting in jail, and some of those senators tried to go and to the jail and see what was going on, and they were locked out.
ugh.
They
Okay,
don't
so
want people to know.
yeah, I know. So what about the six swing states? Let's talk about like because what do you know about like Arizona? Because I mean that is the henchpin or whatever.
Right. And
Lynchpin. Sorry.
they've basically finished the audit, and
Yeah.
then the Senate ordered a count of the ballots. And what the issue is that there are ballots that were missing, and
Yeah.
there were ballots that were it's like the ballots that were adjudicated. The original ballot was supposed
Yeah,
to be
by the way,
saved.
this whole COVID ruse was to fearmonger people down, put mandates on them up to the election, this entire 2020, so that they could rationalize for the first time in American history, for the safety of the people. I'm doing air quotes, you can't see me. For the safety of the people, rationalize mail in ballots like never before. And it was the fact that what they would do then is what? I'm just retracing for everybody. Mark Zuckerberg paid.
It's not, you're like recycling. You're okay. I can see you moving now.
Okay,
You were
was
cutting
it?
out, so
I know. Well,
you
yours
came
just
back
did,
in.
did that too. So just make sure
Yeah.
that we're clear that Mark Zuckerberg paid $500 million to a private other company to go in and pay for the 29 states that the Dominion voting machines were placed in intentionally, that were altered and online live as the election was happening on November 3rd, and that we have seen all the forensic proof of the arcs of the information trails coming in and out live, dumping and undumping and manipulating and going back to foreign countries. Our nemesis, our not our allies. Some we think are allies, but all kinds: Serbia, Italy, China, Iran, Spain, Barcelona, Germany. I said Germany, Frankfurt, Germany. So we saw all of the real time swindle going on in real time, and it's been it's been very aggravating, because of those of us that feel like, oh, is it just a time that we were born in, that we feel like that, you know uh, you and I went to the same high school, in Oregon, of all
Yeah.
places, which is like the armpit now of the United States. I mean, Baltimore looks like the shiny city on the hill compared to Portland, Oregon.
It looks like a third world country.
I mean,
All the stores are boarded up with plywood. The
cocaine and
construction that
crack
keeps
cocaine,
happening.
methamphetamines, they're all legal. They're legal to smoke right on the street corner. They're and also in California, Newsom has made it legal to steal in any store up to, correct me if I'm wrong, $1,800. Donald Tharp probably will know. Sorry, Donald, I didn't mean to say your last name. Donald will probably know this. I think that it's either 1,200 or 1,800. You're allowed to steal in any store up to a certain point before they can arrest you.
And there are stores that are closing because there's no way that they can
I mean, I kind of want to
sustain.
go and get some stuff, but I mean, still, that's not right,
But in Oregon, it is. I
You're kind of glitchy there. You're breaking up, Andrea. Can't hear you. Can't hear you. We lost Andrea, but we're still live. Okay, so we're talking about she's got the link. So tell me if you guys can see me. Can you still see me? Am I still going? Say yes or no. Yes, am I still going? Here comes Andrea again. We're going to try to get it right. Okay, we're going to add her in. You froze up. You're still glitching.
Okay.
Okay, now I can hear you for a second.
Okay. Well, I'm in the country, and I'm not using her router. Her router is worse than
Well, it was going so well. The locust must have come over the house. I don't know. Okay, so people can still see me, so I'm going to keep on going, and we're just going to leave you there for a second. So, okay, so the Arizona audits, let me give you guys the lowdown, and we'll get to it. So the Arizona audits are over and complete, and I think today, I know that we always kick the can down the street, but I literally think today is the official announcement of what their findings were. And we know that there was at least 56,000 ballots that only had Biden checked and no other down ballot box was filled in, which renders that ballot fraudulent and inadmissible. It also, ironically, Pennsylvania had 98,000 in the same way. Wisconsin had 32,000. Georgia had 64,000. And if I didn't say Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Nevada had 21,000. I have a photographic memory for useless information in my head. Those were all cast for Biden alone with no other boxes ticked. Not the Republican Party, not the Democratic Party, which would be a straight ticket. I'm talking about just the box for Biden. And by the way, of all of these hundreds of thousands of Biden only ticked boxes, there was not one ballot that just Trump was checked and nothing else. So you can't say, oh, I'm sure there's a whole pile of ones that were like that for Trump. Nope. And the ones that were checked like that didn't have the watermark on them. They had a machine. They had a machine fill in the box, and it wasn't on the right paper, and they had no paper folds.
Right.
So it makes it all. That's all of the forensic stuff that they have to, the hurdles that they have to jump through to be rendered real, or they're adjudicated, or that word's been swindled, thrown out. They can't be counted. So Trump just won. They're about to announce that he won Arizona. In the meantime, Texas is doing recounts, Oregon's doing recounts, California's doing recounts, Texas is doing recounts. Many states are now ordering the recounts. So
even
we know
the states that Trump won.
Yeah, no, even the states that he won. And that's really weird because the Democrat leadership in those are going, acting like, like mockery, like they always do. Hello, you already took this state, dumbass. Like, what are you doing? It's like, that's not the point. We're going to show you the counties and how this was swindled, and we're going to show it to you everywhere. So anyways, that's happening. Sorry, I had to throw something away. So I can hear you now. Do you want to say something? Let's see if you're coherent there. Oh, good.
Not only was it the down ballots that voted, but the adjudicated ballot, this is what I was trying to say before, is that the adjudicated ballots have matching numbers and can link to each other the ballot that was because for whatever reason that the original ballot wasn't counted or go through the machine right or whatever, they made a duplicate ballot so that it can be used, and they're supposed to be the number is supposed to match and they're supposed to link to each other. And I can't remember what the number was, but it was a large number of ballots that they didn't reference anything. They couldn't link them and reference them to the original ballot. And so on top of, there's many categories of
Right.
of
1,000 cuts to a swindle. Like they had in Pennsylvania alone, they mailed out 1.7 million mail-in ballots, and they got back in 2.5 million of those mail-in ballots.
So
in Oregon, around that time, and we remember around that time, there was a guy, he's probably dead now. There was a truck driver that gave testimony that he was, he checked out, it's called a bill of lading. If you are a truck driver and you drive an 18-wheel, well, all kinds of sizes of trucks, but in particular, this 18-wheel semi, the 58 feet, I think it's long now, and then your tractor, so the tractor and the trailer together, 75 feet, filled to the top and bottom, all the way to the front and the back, were ballots. And the bill of lading was left blank, but he found out that they were actually U.S. ballots for the 2020 presidential election, and he was told to drive them out of state from New York to Pennsylvania. And he was told to leave them overnight in a parking lot. When he came back to get his load, which
it was gone.
It was gone.
Yeah.
And that's just one. And that's just one. But you can get 700,000 ballots in one of those semi-truck trailers. That would be plenty of room for 700,000 ballots. And so maybe it was just one truck. I don't know.
This isn't the Trump. This isn't the Trump election, but Oregon had an election in May of 2020, and the number of ballots that were cast were 600 and something thousand, but the ballots received was 400 and something thousand.
Right.
And so something that's going on in Oregon, what they're doing to the voter is the DMV is part of the cabal, and they are taking your registration of a Republican and they're switching it to unaffiliated. And there were several people that were commenting in the stream that we were doing, but that's just one of the things that they do is they change your affiliation so that they can use your vote wherever they want.
Right.
Or remove your vote because you're a Republican. I'm independent.
I want to say hi to some I want to say hi to some people. So hi, Faith. It's been a long time, and I'm sorry, you guys. I've been doing entertainment and stuff like that, and a build up to something, and now we're on the ground floor of something really exciting that I'm NDA'd out of speaking about it all, but it's really exciting. And it's not politics, everybody needs a break from stuff so that they can get clear. And I'm certainly not going to relegate myself to be held hostage to anything. So we just discussed the American states by state, how the audits are being done, and they're coming in. And it started with Arizona, and we've won that, and we've proven what we needed to prove. And it's ridiculous that we had to. But these people don't care, that they're not going down without a fight. And so that's where we are with that. Don't look to the MSM for your news and frustration. If I was to bridge a gap of importance about your vibration, that is where we're going to tie all these things together. So you make sure that while you're checking out information and bringing it for people, because your loved ones and us and everything, that you don't become defined by it and let it subdue you and let it create a sense of hopelessness in you. it takes practice, but if you're gonna get into this, then you can't let it get at you, because that could alter your vibration, and that could she's coming and going. She's like disappearing.
Sorry.
You're coming and going.
Yeah.
Okay. You're out in the country. So but we're all just discussing vibration and stuff like that. So we covered the audits. Um, just before we about 2 hours ago, really, one of our guys in our Patriot Party shared a link to a video from David Weiss and David Rodriguez. David Rodriguez had David Weiss on. David Weiss is everything you ever want to know about the theory of flat Earth. So I'm just going to, if you heard everything I just said, I'm going to. Somebody's saying all these minutes. Okay. So I'm just gonna like throw the ball to you, because I actually watched the entire video, and then I actually downloaded the app Flat Earthers thing onto my phone since he shared this. And by the way, this is not my first exposure with the idea, which would be like a tinfoil hat people that are crazy and they meet like in crazy fields and stuff like that. Or is it crazy? So, I mean, this is what I mean. Ron is like, my mate is like, well, that's kind of, I mean, in my book, I don't ever, you're God. I don't, which, do I have that book here? I think I sold it. So at a party, and somebody's like, I want that book. I'm like, oh, okay, here it is. But anyway,
In my suitcase.
yeah. So, but, so Flat Earth, I've tied some things together I think that people will find captivating. So I'll just throw it to you. What do you know about this whole theory, notion of flat Earth?
I've been exposed to it. I've seen videos. I've watched videos on YouTube. I don't remember names as well as I remember the details of what I'm looking at. But what I understand is that for aviators, people who fly and that have the maps, they have a map that has, the whole circle of the Earth looking down, like as if you had flattened everything out, and it's a circle, and that's how aviators look. And they measure the time to fly to certain positions, and it matches up with the flat Earth theory, and not that we're in a globe. And
that's a really good point. That's a really good point, because somebody was asking David Weiss, have you spoken to pilots? Like, are there any pilots that come forward? And he said, yes, hundreds of pilots over time.
And they don't see a curve from up there.
He goes, but they're afraid to come out. They go, if you go into the actual airport lounges where these pilots are all around the world over the last 30 years, you'll hear them privately talking about it, but they know that they'd be fired and blah, 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 and all the other powers that be that come to their families and everything else. But this is what I have heard and seen so far. Now, again, I'm just going to put it out there, and you guys, but I think we should pursue this. I really do. And I know that it just sounds wackadoodle, but I'm going to put some things to it, because I got really good brain for the physics and science and light and planets and vortexes and how things could be possible, and that the probability of something else would be ridiculous notion. And this does not fall in any of those. So let's just pursue it. So we know that pilots have come forward and said that nobody's allowed to. By the way, in 1961, the Antarctic Treaty was signed, and then all countries signed it. And this is what that was: that it was illegal for any private venture to fly or travel south of the 60-degree meridian going to Antarctic. Okay,
right.
When they say that beings that are extraterrestrials or from outer space, they put the flat Earth in a ring, and then the ice around that, and then a whole separate ocean outside of that, where there's other continents around that ring, and then another shelf on a flat surface. Okay, so when you say outer space, we're talking about the space that's outside of of that ice shelf. On the other side, outer space, the space over there.
And
Okay,
the
check that out.
reason
And
this is such a strange
extraterrestrials
idea,
is what?
the reason this is such a strange idea to us all, because we've been taught ever since we
Our school
got
system.
into school is a
Well, check this
globe
out.
around.
Yeah, well, check this out. Rockefellers, the Rockefellers, everybody knows the name Rockefellers. They have paid and funded all school books from all grades into all university levels all through time. They're the only ones that printed all of the books because they sold them to all the institutions for less than they cost to actually print. And so no other company could compete in that model, right, because they didn't need the profit. They were in the business of swindling
Changing
the narrative,
the truth,
to hide the truth. And so we were told early on about a notion about this is this, and we're here, and this is that, and this goes like this. And if you said anything else, then you were defunded or this, that, and the other thing. But no companies that have ever come up along the way and thought, hey, I'll get into the supply and demand business. I'll compete competitively, I'll be competitive pricing, and I'll get the I'm trying to think of the term.
contract.
Contract, thank you. Yeah, I'll get the contract because I'll underbid them. It's like you couldn't underbid the Rockefellers because they were doing it for no profit and a loss, at a loss. Right. And they made sure of it. And just as soon as somebody else said, oh, I can beat that, they'd be like half of that. And so, so we have to, this is really cool. So all the way through time, children then were profiled in school systems and told by their teachers if they were good students, and a certain dynamic of personality traits and obedience inside that child. Teachers and principals would keep earworming them, programming them that, boy, wouldn't they make excellent educators? Wouldn't they make a great teacher? So then they would go on to university, study to become an educator, and then they would go on to become a teacher themselves. And then they would go to the university levels, and then a bunch of other people would agree with what that person had just taught. And then that would become a peer review. And if you weren't part of they would set up notions that you then couldn't ever contradict, or you'd be railroaded out of town because it passed all the peer review. But all the peer review was just only based on the programming from when they were children. And then they all decided to agree on a notion. I mean, it's.
What my sister wrote a thesis.
I mean, I was one of the valedictorians of my high school. I know because you were there.
Yeah.
Okay.
My sister,
I jumped through all those hoops, but I'm not stupid. I actually went beyond that. Yeah.
But my sister wrote her thesis. It took her 10 years, and she wrote a thesis on the way that history has been written is not the truth, that it's not the facts. It's the conqueror or the winner of any war, any issue, and that our history is a fiction, and it's been written by the agenda of the winners. And this is what's been going on. And little does she know, because she's extremely liberal, she lives in Finland, and she's extremely left. And thesis basically supports and backs up what we've been saying, is that our history, what is not our history, it is
Yeah.
the agenda of
It would
somebody who
appear
paid for it.
that way. Yeah. It would
Yeah.
appear that way. Um, okay, let's get into what this means practically then. So David Weiss was asked a series of questions, and if you were to stay in this topic long enough, you too yourself would come up with these very probable. This is it's natural to come to these. But what about? And then what about? But what about? So let's cover
Right.
a couple of those. So they go, but what about? But what about? Um, okay, let's first go to how the round Earth that we've ever seen it. Um, there was a guy, I forget his name now. I just was looking at these details before we went live, and then now it's kind of. But anyways, he was the one that did the Red Bull highest base jump or free fall.
Yeah.
From that capsule or whatever that he was standing on, and so he comes out. Well, check this out. I mean, this is like I saw this. So he left the desert of New Mexico. Okay, went up, and I guess in a rocket or whatever. And then they take him up to a certain elevation. He ended up going up, I think it was 127,000 feet. Where he left, the Earth is spinning at the equator 1,000 miles per hour, okay? And if you're not big enough to have mass of yourself, as soon as you lift off from Earth, the Earth is moving underneath you. You're not pulled by it because you're not massive enough to be influenced by it like that. The whole notion that our satellites are in the space station is in orbit and continually it's not a fixed and being pulled along with the Earth. It's actually just allegedly going around. Like you'll see if you go to Space Station Live, you'll see that it's actually going like over the boot of Italy, and pretty soon you're over in Spain, and pretty soon you're over Russia. You know what I mean? It's going around. It's not fixed to one spot and just staying over that. So when he leaves, he's up for 3 hours. By the time that he actually touches back down, he touches back down east in the New Mexico desert of where he took off from. But that's impossible because the Earth has moved 3,000 miles west while he's been up, and he would be over somewhere off the coast of Africa in the ocean. Okay, that's just the way that it is. So he couldn't have kept up with that. He didn't have rockets on his butt. He wasn't like flying with propulsion to get back to where he
Right.
was. So
And that's what I was going to say.
But then from the launch pad where he actually went off and jumped off, they show from the camera this fish goggle, like fisheye lens, which they say, by the way, is the only thing when anybody's ever gone up, that fisheye camera lens is the thing that's making the Earth seem round, by the way, because they've seen it where it's invex or convex to invex. Okay, so that's really interesting because the Earth isn't sitting there wobbling like this back and forth, going round, flat, round, flat. So anyway, but they actually zoomed in on what is the land from that thing when his feet left that platform, and they zoom in, and it's New Mexico still underneath him, which is impossible. It's impossible. It could never happen. And then not only that, but he didn't. The Earth is moving west. He would have been moving west to the Earth, its rotation. He wouldn't have been able to get back there. He just wouldn't have. So
Right.
that's one more swindle thing. But let's go to this because I love this, because I was talking to Ron about this and I'm like, oh my God, think about this. We're really getting close. By the way, if this is true, this supports it, and if the actions as of late, Jeff Bezos, Richard Branson, and Elon Musk have all gone into space or just into weightlessness out of the pole of gravity in the last 2 months with their own private money, and it's been beautifully taped and all this, that, and the other thing. Why? Why now? All these billionaires are making sure that the news is covering them up there, and they show the curve of the earth, and they're all making sure that we all see them weightlessness and all this stuff. Why now? Why all ironically all at the same time? It's because we're probably getting close to the actual truth and uncovering and exposing it.
Did you see the
wait
the
I got
oh,
one more. I got one
okay.
more. And in what was I thinking? Oh no, you go ahead. Maybe it'll come back to me.
Okay. So the shuttle crew were like in weightlessness, and he was
the globe.
Yeah, he dropped
Yeah.
it. Went down, picked it up. He dropped it. So they're filming, and it's fake. It's all fake. It's a movie.
Yeah. I mean, like their hair is all up like this, like they took, like Aquanet and sprayed. I have a really bad mouth, and I'm being really good because I'll usually say something like, "Let's sprayed the bitch's hair up," so bad. But I was really surprised when I was watching David Rodriguez interview this David Weiss, because he said the F-bomb, which I won't do here because I'm sure that just the content alone will probably get it taken down. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. So hi to everybody that's watching, and everybody that will be watching this, not watching this live. Hello to you guys, and we love you. And we're coming from both coasts, basically. I'm in Kentucky in the bluegrass on a horse farm, and Andrea's in Oregon. Are you in California right now? Now you're frozen.
There we go.
There you are.
I'm gonna move because it's better towards the window. So
do you have a satellite dish up your butt? No. Hey, now I'm getting a really good reception. I'm awful.
Yeah, well,
let's stick to the course here. Okay.
Towards the road, it's better. So I'm moving, pointing in a different direction. Anyway.
Hey, Faith. Hey, Jennifer. Hey, Unleashed Patriot. Glad you made it. Cindy, again, of course, First Light, Dagmar, Donald, of course, and others. Anyway, so and Andrea's in Oregon or California now. Are you still with your family down in California?
I'm in Oregon.
You're back in Oregon. Okay.
So I was staying with my oldest aunt, and helping them. She got sick, and I stayed there for 2 months, actually.
In the heat, it was like 135 degrees down there.
It was horrible. And
you're making eggs on the sidewalk.
Yeah, and then I came to it's Lebanon, Oregon, so it's in the middle
so of nowhere.
Yeah, in the middle of nowhere. But my aunt had knee surgery, and so I'm here to take care of the garden and flowers that she usually does, and trying to keep her down, because she's one of those people that, I'll just do a little more. It's just a little more.
You're sweet.
So we're trying to keep
You've
her.
Always been sweet. Yeah, you're helping out family. So. That's awesome. So we did the audits first. I'm going to keep on this compartmentalization, and we discovered that, like you guys, if you've been paying attention, Arizona is about to be announced, I think today, that it's actually Trump, and they found way more than enough just in Biden checked boxes only, which discount then the way over what Trump needs in all 6 swing states. So, I mean, let alone the fact that he won 49 of the 50, and all the states have begun to do audits. So that's one thing. Okay, so that's one thing, but it seems like a nothing burger now compared to the fact that we may, with the 1961 Antarctica Treaty, which made it illegal to fly over. This is what I was going to say. So those pilots that said that indeed, so this is how they tested it. This guy did this thing on 25 flights where they had to do emergency landings from commercial airlines, where somebody's had a baby, somebody's had a heart attack, and they need to go to the nearest airport,
medical,
along their thing,
the route.
And one was going from, I'm just trying to get this right, from Tunisia to LA. Okay, so they were on the globe map. They were passing by in the air, of course, way up high, kind of not over, but near what would be Hawaii or Honolulu. Okay. Well, did that pilot take them to the nearest airport in Honolulu? No. He took them to Alaska, because on the flat earth map, it's a straight line from Tunisia right through LA to Alaska. Right through Alaska to LA, coming what would be perceived as down. I mean, this is all like gibberjick, like, oh my God, my head's exploding. So a straight line, by the way, if you want to go from the tip of Africa over, see if I get this right. If you want to go from Australia, Sydney, Australia, to Cape Town, Africa, you would think that the plane would just go like that, right? No, it goes straight up to Europe, through Europe and Italy and Spain, and then back down the continent of Africa, all the way down to that thing. Okay, that's what you pay for. But in actuality, when you put it on the flat Earth's like actual circle straight down, it's a straight line. It's a straight line from Sydney, Australia to Cape Town, Africa, going what would be perceived as up. It's a straight line. But here it looks like it's going all the way up and over oceans and all the way around.
So they charge you a whole bunch of money saying they're going to use a bunch of fuel, and
I got kind of close to the camera there. I was very excited.
Yeah.
I mean, this stuff does kind of have me going. I was like, wow.
Well, if everything that we have ever known and been told or taught in schools is all wrong, you know, our history, everything is upside down, and you know, even the, because it's go down a bunny trail, even the Bible had what, 77 books removed from it, and so it doesn't.
The Bible does talk about the firmament, though, and the firmament is the other continents that we've been not been. By the way, outside of our what would be perceived in the direction of our Antarctic ice shelf, is actually all the way around on the flat Earth. So it's that ice thing, and then
and you see that in the pilot's map.
And then a whole nother circular ocean with all kinds of other continents. And by the way, in 1870s, down in Florida, there was a book that somebody was talking about, whereby that visitors from over the ice shelf over there had come and told everybody about all the things that was already over there, like flat screen TVs. They were talking about all this other stuff in the 1870s that was way advanced. It's right over there. But they have been keeping us in this slow trickle of like not advancing us and keeping us in prison state of charging us for energy that's all free, really.
The Truman Show?
Right. The True Man Show. True Man. So anyways, all that's really interesting. And I mean, my mind is just spinning right now about like tying everything I've ever known to this. Now, it doesn't negate the fact that somebody said, what about satellites in orbit that is our internet and everything? They're not up there. There are no satellites. Actually, there are no satellites. Again, repeat, around Earth. Everything is done cable under the ocean. All of our stuff. You know, those deep underground, just hear me out. Those deep underground military bases and those high-speed trains that are 10 miles down that go way under the continents, all communications are down there, run in actual cables.
Elon Musk and all the satellites that's
the
supposedly
Starlink thing has all been contrived.
So it's a movie. It's a movie.
Right. So that whole, by the way, oh my God. Did you get to see the launch of Jeff Bezos' rocket? Did you see it?
I was busy.
Okay, well, have you ever seen a penis before?
I saw the responses afterwards, and it was
really now we've turned into porn or something, Dyna porn. The official video live capture of that showed the rocket. I'm just gonna get banned for this. So, so the rocket with a head, like you know what?
Yeah.
The guy, have you? Usually, it's very, very professionally done, and it's a solid, very beautiful, seamless. The camera's going, in, 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 in. So you see this penis going like screw you, and it's got little nuggets on the bottom of it, like like testicles,
Yeah.
like that are the allegedly they say don't. Did you ever see on Saturday Night Live the ambiguously gay duo? Did you ever see that sketch? It was Ace and Gary. Okay, I'll check this out. Their car was a large penis, and they had
Right.
like superpowers, but they were gay, and people would look. They had the cod pieces, and they were built like it was an animated feature, and they were
Right.
super built. And they would get into these formations when they were going to battle something, and they would be like they jump on each other and they upside down it so one's face would be in the other's crotches, and everybody before they'd go to take off, everybody would be looking, and they'd look over at them and be like, "What are you looking at?" And it's like nothing's going on here, and their car shot out of a slit out of the front of it like this stuff. I mean, and then they were called the ambiguously gay duo. They're da da da. And this
Yeah.
is this is Jeff Bezos's rocket. This is his thumbing his he is mocking. He is totally having a ball, and he didn't spend $5 billion to break away from Earth's gravity. He just went to a movie studio and
Yeah.
just had all the tech guys, and they're all having a big time, probably smoking a big old blunt, just laughing. Probably ordered pizza.
Well, our moon landing. It
Yeah,
was
well,
a
the moon landing. Yeah. Yeah.
it was a production.
Yeah, there was a little girl, and there's a video. You can go and source it. It's still on YouTube and other places where I forget the name of one of the three most famous astronauts of all time that allegedly went to the moon. Okay, and now I forget which one. I think it was Aldrin. I think it was Buzz Aldrin.
Yeah, Aldrin. I think so.
Yeah, the little girl goes up to him at like one of those, like if you go to like if you're a Trekkie and you go to the Star Trek convention.
Right.
Well, it was like a space NASA type thing where if you were a space addict fan stuff, you'd go and you'd try to meet your heroes, and he was of course the biggest name there. And this little girl, I guess her parents were filming it, goes up and says, "Yeah, I have one question." I look at the kind of fidgeting and stuff like this. She goes, "Yeah, so how come we haven't been back to the moon?" And without flinching, he goes, "Well, mostly because we've never been there." That's on tape.
Yeah.
We've never gone to the moon because there is no such thing as a moon. Our moon is not there. Now, they went in closer to Mars and Jupiter and some other stars that are in the constellations that we see from here. And by the way, and there's no physical object there. It's a light. It's a light phenomena beam that they've just thrust there. Because when you get closer, it's got all these little refracted. It's like a hologram laser shot against, I guess, what would be a dome or whatever. But so I know I'm going off in cuckoo land, but I said I wanted to discuss flat Earth. Now I'm not saying that this is the way that it is, but again, let me review what's going on here because these
There's
are
a lot of questions about it.
These are the accepted numbers. Okay, so our Earth is if a sphere, all textbooks say this is what the dispensed telegraph acceptable telegraph story is, that at the equator we're spinning at 1,000 miles per hour. At the North Pole, not so much. Like if you stood exactly on the pole of the north, like a record, if standing in the middle of a record, you wouldn't be moving, you'd just be turning in a circle. But you go to the equator and you're hauling ass. You're going 1,000 miles per hour. Okay, like clothes in a washer. Okay, that Earth is traveling around our star at 500,000 miles per hour. Is that right? No. Our star is traveling around our galaxy at 500,000 miles per hour, and our galaxy is traveling at 72,000 miles per hour to the left and straight down, if you would. If you in the universe, if there's a down, this is the accepted telegraph story. When actuality, 20 years from now, you could look up at the constellation where you are right now on a starry, clear night, and those stars would be exactly in the same place. That's impossible because in 25 years from now, we'd be over, I think it's 125 billion miles from where we are. And there's a thing called an aperture apex. And can you see my hands? If you travel, one would, I'm going to put it like this. So, like, if we're here, I'm trying to do the opposite hand. One of these, just pick one. If we're one of those in 25 years, stars are gonna apex aperture, and you're gonna see something different. But we've already been recording it for almost 100 years in chronicling it, and everything's exactly in the same position. Exactly.
Yeah, doesn't move.
There's no changing of any aperture apex anywheres. Wow, like becoming Kentuckified.
So their theory of certain planets that move and come into contact or nearby, that they travel.
Yeah.
But nothing else does. So that doesn't really make sense.
Well, if you go look at my music video Black Hole. So I grabbed this really cool video software simulation of, you know, the vacuum cleaners now, like the Dyson and stuff that are using the vortex type thing.
Right.
So have you ever been, unfortunately, too close to a road and a large truck goes by and it kind of sucks you in a little bit? And you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
You know? Or there's some really bad video if you want to go to YouTube and look at this guy near this train track, this high-speed train, about takes him everything with it. And he doesn't realize how lucky that fool was. He's like with his back to it, taking somebody's picture. I'm like, first of all, the moral of the story is always turn towards the track that's closest. It's like crossing the street. It's like on a two-way street. Which direction are you going to be looking at first? The one far away or the one that could hit you first? Okay, anyways. I'm a facetious little bastard. Please remind me where I'm not. What was I talking about? I'm just letting it go today. What was I talking about?
Sure.
Oh. So our star allegedly is hurling through space. Okay.
Right.
When we were kids in school, I mean, tell me if I was wrong, but when you studied astronomy, or we didn't have a class called astronomy, but
no, it was part of science.
It's part of science. Science. I like science. It was that we had a star. And here are these little planets, and they're just every year. Pluto, probably every 8 years, is making a full rotation around this quiet, beautiful sun that's just sitting here. It's just going around, right? It's like the Earth is here, you know, the sun's here, and the Earth just is going around real slow, and oh, now it's spring again. Here comes summer. We're just like, oh, isn't it nice? We're getting older. No, this star is hauling ass through space. It's going 500,000 miles per hour around our galaxy. It's going so fast that if it were to pass you right now, you wouldn't even see it. It's going way too fast for the human eye to even understand.
Blip.
And the planets that are supposedly gently going around it are sucked into it, like you beside the road too close to a large truck that goes by. It's sucking us through space. So it's like a double helix. It's going, right through. It's going right through space. So for all of that, with us spinning on our axis at a tilt, and we're going around a star, and our star is hurling ass around a large galaxy, and that galaxy is going another 141,000 miles up and to the right, while our sun's going 72,000 miles per hour down and to the left around a galaxy that's got an Earth that's on a rotasis hauling ass through space. And we still see the same stars for the last 100 years?
Right.
No. Okay, just no.
It doesn't add up. It really doesn't.
It's like COVID-19. It's like this. Here, I'm going to go down it. Okay. Why would you spend millions if you own if you dictate the narrative through a morning blitz, like we saw the evidence from all the news affiliates from small towns to big towns that are past the same story, and they're told this day's story this is what you're going to report. Remember, you see the massive Zoom screen on screen with all those people at the same time are saying the exact same words, and they'll never meet each other. So the odds of that are what? Zero.
Impossible.
Zero. It's the exact same words in the exact same order on the exact same day, from Milwaukee to Russia. Exact same thing. The CCP is dictating all story swindle. Okay, so if you can do that, which you can, and you've been doing it ever since, you don't need to go to have Fauci donate $3.7 million to a Wuhan lab to have all the scientists for years start boiling this elixir that's going to, then they're gonna blow it into somebody's mouth, and then they're gonna let them get on a plane, and pretty soon it'll spread through all the land. It's like, you don't need that crap. You don't need any virus at all. All you need to do is write the news story that it just happened. Now you tell all the reporters in all of those countries, this just happened. Now we got to change things for your safety. We all have to change what we're doing so that we can save grandma and we don't kill babies. We all have to alter. We have to take one for the team. Doesn't mean it ever actually was a real thing. They didn't need to spend $1 to tell you that there was an invisible boogeyman that now for about 2 weeks to flatten the curve. 2 weeks. That's all we need. In March of 2020, 2 weeks. We just need 2 weeks. We'll flatten that curve. Life will go back to normal. 2 weeks. The day before 2 weeks came, 2 more months. We just need 2 months. We'll flatten that curve. The 2 days before the 2 months was up, Christmas. I swear we'll have it done by Christmas.
Right.
We'll flatten this curve. Everybody will be fine. We'll go back to normal. Well, here we are.
There's an attorney that had a
when you gonna wake up, people?
Conference, and he was reporting to the German Health Commission Committee. And I have that video, and I can share it. I'll share it in the group later. But he has all the evidence of how they started patenting this COVID in 2003 and 4, and then in 2016 they patented the jab, and it was within a month they had it patented. The amount of evidence he has is just overwhelming. This is all about money. This is all about, they're trying to create a society of the wealthy and then the serf that serves the wealthy. That's what they're trying to create with this.
Right. But now there is good news. If you follow the whys, why go to all the trouble? Why now? Why not keep it back in the 40s and the 50s?
When people were not aware.
Right. I mean, why bother ramping it up? I mean, what's going on? Is something changed? Or are you guys nervous about something that looks like it? Are you worried that there's going to be some information come forward that's going to shock everybody's sense of reality? I mean, is there something coming? Is there another alien race? Is there a higher intelligence in a race of extraterrestrials that are about to finally once and for all free the people and let people? Is there light that's going to be shed here soon? And you're trying to get everything like really locked down before that we can get access to it, meaning like you have to look at patterns like I do. Like I have a mind for patterns. I can tell you what things are going to lead up to. A lot of people can, but in a limited way. Like it depends on what matters to them most. They can listen to the car, sound of their car. Oh, I don't know. That sounds like the 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 rods, the tie rods might be going. When I turn left, oh, hey, that sounds like my brakes. I better bring my car into the mechanic. I mean, that sounds like something I've heard before, and I want to get ahead of it before I go off a cliff or I can't stop when I really need to. I better have this checked out. Hey, look at my tires. I mean, aren't they supposed to have tread? Are they supposed to be smooth all the way around? It's like patterns leading up to something. If you can use your common sense and your God gave you or you gave you sense of deduction, you can start you gave you that you can also get to where we are, which is just turn the damn box off for a minute and feel your way. Does it feel like bullshit? Well, it's probably bullshit. I mean, you're not going to have a lot of friends or a lot of people that are going to gather around you can go to drinks with, or you can gather around the water cooler and you all can pat each other on the back and make each other feel safe and you understand me. I'm in my safe place. I'm really glad that you guys agree with me. So we have a little cult over here. Well, your cult of ignorance is still ignorant. And now you're just magnified ignorance. Have you ever seen a bunch of we were watching a movie the other day. Oh, the American Horror Story. If you ever seen through the years their thing. Well, this recent batch this season is different than all the others. It's totally different stories each episode. And the one last night that we watched was called the Bro Show. Like The Bachelorette or Big Brother or any reality show, the housewives of this, that, and the other thing, where the more you get together, the less the IQ is. It's like if you get a whole stadium of, sorry guys out there, I don't mean to be hateful, but honestly, if you take a bunch of jocks and you put them all they become like monkeys, like gorillas, like what I mean? It's like, it's like you go from, if you put that same person with their girlfriend or with their mom or with their grandma in a nursing home, they're astute, they're charming, they have great things, they can speak in whole sentences. You put them with four of their bros in a bar and they're like, look at her, nice tits. I mean, it becomes like this minimalization of their whole being, of their potential. It's like their baseline just goes way down. Their expectations of speech or anything that's important or worthwhile is out the window. Now we're just at the animal survival, the caveman, and that's really what we're talking about. I mean, this whole thing, if you're not using your power of deduction and feeling your way and listening and feeling, and you're taking all your cues from the box. That's why, I don't know if you noticed, if you responded to this, but I asked the Patriot Party not that long ago, when did you hear of COVID-19 and how did you? What was the medium? Okay. And I did that on purpose because I'm a provocateur, because I want to get people thinking, because a lot of people are like, well, I don't even know. See, and we need to unpeel it. We need to unpeel it back to where you first heard it, when you first heard it, and how you heard it. So because I had a point, and I wanted the point to mean something more by having people personally invested, as if they didn't see where I was going. Again, not following patterns. I'm setting you up you're going to hit the ball. So this was my whole reasoning and logic behind it. I wanted you to go, which was, by the way, the consensus was on television, which was my point. You looked at a box. Now, my question was this: if you hadn't turned the box on and had it shown to you this whole year and a half, would you have known about anything called COVID-19? For instance, if you had been kidnapped for some reason and taken to a cave in the desert and been being held by kidnappers, wouldn't ever want that to be for anybody. But had you, with a burlap bag over your head and just fed, and you were allowed to use the bathroom in this cave, and then you were fed, and no communication with anybody, and then you're released. If you went into a store and you saw masks on people at all, or you still didn't turn on the TV where you were, would you actually know about anything, have evidence, real catastrophic zombie apocalypse, a million bodies? Camel Toe Harris last week took to the airways in a press conference and said, it's sad to report to you that 220 million Americans are now dead in the last 3 months from COVID-19.
She took
You're
a
the
leaf
vice
out
president
of
of the
Biden's book.
United States.
The president did that first, and now she has. Misquoting the numbers.
Andrea, how many people are in the United States right now? Ish.
Close to 300 million.
Right, it's 328 million.
So two-thirds of our population is dead from COVID, really?
Yeah, and the bodies are everywhere. I mean, you can't even drive your car for the mounds of the big trucks and the forklifts and all of the, I mean, please, people, be kind. Don't stop and gawk too long at the huge 6-story building high mounds of rotting corpses on every exit, by the way. Because COVID's a monster. It's everywhere. I mean, you can see all the dead bodies, right?
And okay, so do you know
I don't know of one person that's died. Not one. Anywhere.
I have family that know of a person.
Oh, everybody knows of a story about a person that they said that they loved and trusted, that told them a horror story about this person that actually just died because they were old, or they had a pre-existing condition.
Most of the people that have passed away are above the age of 75. They've had a comorbidity that they were dealing with. And most of the people that were admitted to the hospital were not admitted for the reasons of COVID. They were admitted to the hospital because they were having problems that were ongoing from previous. And
okay, let me put it this way. And now answer this question. I'm not being facetious. If the mainstream media had never started ever reporting one time since January of 2020 any story at all about anything about a warning about COVID-19, right now, would you have a lot of questions about why all the extra people have died? Think about that. Have there been unbelievable stories more than ever in your life about all the people that have died in and around you? Or is it the same number of people that die every year?
It's the same number.
Right. So if they had never reported
it's actually lower for for 2020.
Right.
The deaths was 2.9% less than the previous year.
Yeah. So without the boogeyman story, honestly, there's no more funeral processions going by. There's no more amount of. Have you heard an uptick in the last year of endless 24 hours a day, every day, of endless ambulances going by? Every minute, loud sirens. No, it's been crickets. Wouldn't you, if this was real, wouldn't you have?
Yeah.
Enough that they locked
think about
all
pandemic. Did you ever see that movie with?
I'm just trying to keep battering it down. I'm ramming it down.
Did you see the movie with Dustin Hoffman, and it was Outbreak or something like that?
Yeah.
That movie, they had such an outbreak that they actually detonated a bomb in a community to irradiate this.
Let's not give them any
disease.
Ideas. Did you ever see? Yeah.
That's pandemic means that it's spreading exponentially and really can't be stopped. And like they did Ebola in Africa.
I mean, they did this all wrong. Had they hired me, I would have told them how to give the impression in the physical world of the uptick and escalation of the of the danger, meaning what you would do of the normal people that die, and or just say all the people that are underground that they've been killing for lots of years for adrenochrome. They should have been taking all of those bodies up from underground and actually putting them in places and having
Yeah.
the film crews there and going, you don't want this to happen. Look at this. This was a mall. All these people, they could say they just passed away, that it's
Right.
in this area now, but they didn't even bother with that. They
No.
knew how gullible that the general populace was. They didn't even need proof. They didn't
Because they've
even
used
bother.
Hollywood to dumb everybody
Because they're
down.
so
I mean,
busy at
there's so
their
much.
cocaine-laced hooker parties up in the hills of Hollywood that they don't want to be bothered with getting a tractor and driving corpses down to the corner and dumping them. Look at all these dead bodies. I'm being really irreverent today, but
They tried to do that in China. They
China. You got to say it like
what was
Trump.
it?
China.
No, remember the gas leak? There was supposedly there was a gas leak several years ago, and I don't remember. It was in a Saudi Arabian country, I think, Turkey or something, and they had all these bodies that were laid out on the ground, and it was from several years ago that there was a gas leak, and they
Yeah.
tried to use that film footage and saying it was COVID deaths, and there was actually a couple of people that were laying there that were moving, and they were saying they were dead.
Well, how about in the body bags? You saw this one.
Yeah.
Where it's supposed to be where they were positive, and they went to the respirator moment, and they didn't make it. And here is this camera footage. I think this was I don't even think it was America. I think it was in some third world country or some other country, Uruguay or something, where they're just got their players everywhere. Well, they answer Craigslist ads and they get a KFC box lunch, and they get, I forget what else that they get, at $13 an hour, which is like, I'm going to get banned for this, which I call Negro Riche, which you can do the math on that, which is really funny because I'm not racist. But anyways, I just lost half of people. This one guy is unzipped. His cadaver bag is unzipped to here.
Yeah.
This is a catastrophe. Smoking is really, that smoking causes cancer? That should be like a PSA from the body bag. He should be like, smoking causes cancer. Forget about COVID. I mean, watch out for those cigarettes, people. I used to smoke a lot. I'm just kind of putting that out there.
Well,
I used to do a lot of things, but I survived
the rehearsals, filming of.
Oh my God, the viral nursing videos where they got the COVID-19 guy in the body bag, which they actually, I saw them. I've seen 300, 400, 500 nursing videos that were made all year long, that they had to call each other. Nobody calls each other. They had to text each other. Oh, Kathy, make sure to bring the mop because that's going to be the mast of our Titanic ship today. When we get to the hospital, you're gonna clock in, and then we're gonna meet around noonish or say, and I'll bring chips and you can bring the salsa. We're all gonna. I think that we found, because the whole hospital is so overrun with COVID patients, we have plenty of time for this. Don't worry. And then what we're gonna do is, I asked the doctors and they said, yeah, nothing burgers going on here. Let's get together this whole music video like it's a Michael Jackson Thriller thing. It's going to be so fun. Now, in the middle of the day, it's going to be hard because, there's so many COVID people coming in, overwhelming us, that we have time to create music videos.
Yeah. If we have such a...
And grown adults are still watching the TV going, okay, I got to tell you this. So by the way, honestly, years and years and years ago, in a desperate moment, I was a waiter, back when we called them waiters. I was a waiter, now they're called servers, at Golden Corral. And they had me as your server. Mommy, I'm scared. I was way more than a server. I was giving back massages. You don't even want to know, but I made a killing. Anyway. Um, I always said to Ron, I said, don't worry, we're never going to actually eat here. We just work here. So, because we can afford to eat anywhere. We're not going to eat at Golden Corral. Oh my God, that's for like old people on fixed incomes. And, well, yesterday we went to Golden Corral. Why do we go to Golden Corral? Because all of the restaurants around us still that have drive-up windows, their dining rooms are closed. Okay, so screw you. I'm going to have you shut down and not get my money before I'm going to feed your drive-up window for your masquerade that human beings can't still come in and sit down together and eat. So screw you. So I told the managers of Golden Corral when we went in there after we paid, I go, you know why we're here? And they go, well, first of all, you opened this place years ago and we all know who you are. And I go, well, yeah, there's that. I go, and there's some servers here that we're still in a love fest together. So when I come in, they all like flock on us, like, oh my God, we want it. Well, we tip really big too. And so they're all like, hey, we're over here. I'm in this section, and we're like, it's fine. We'll share it. We'll throw the money at you. But anyways, I told the managers, I said, we're here to give Golden Corral our money because you guys are creative. You took all your signage off, no restrictions. Everybody can come in here. Well, there's still customers that are coming in with masks on and everything, and the latex gloves, right? And I'm like, if somebody sold body condoms, they'd be jump hopping in the rubber, in the prophylactic, going in line, with the big old like rubber head. But what I wanted to say about that was that, I said to them, and trust me, we're going to make sure that you stay open. We're going to fund you. We're going to make sure everybody here has a job. Everybody else, all businesses around here, they're all going to close because I'm going to make sure to use my 2 million people that I have access to. And they're not in Lexington, but anybody that I do here, and I'm going to go, screw that, and that. When you go to even some of these higher end places and you have to have your mask on at the hostess desk. She shows you to your table. Then you can take it off. Nope, not going to patronize that restaurant. No more. Only the ones, no restrictions. Nobody else. Because if you do, then they're going to make it easier to go back to this Delta variant and put us all under the same thing. By the way, they say it's coming again. What do you think about that?
Yeah, the last weekend is Saturday, I think it was, that we went into Staten. We were going to meet at a Chinese restaurant, and we pulled up, and it says for takeout only. Can't use the restroom, but they have a gambling room in the back.
Oh, but yeah.
And you can come in and gamble.
Coke off hookers, back there. Yeah, it's fine.
But this was
COVID doesn't live on hookers, by the way.
Yeah. And so I called the Covered Bridge Cafe and asked them if they were open for dine-in. We get there, and the sign didn't say wear a mask or any of that. It just said, if you have COVID-19, racism, or something else, you're not welcome here. And we went in. It was so noisy, but they had the best food. And I was telling my aunts, because they usually meet at the Chinese place, and they said, well, from now on, we're going to come here. Yeah. So even in a small town of America, people are making their choices for the companies that are removing the mandates.
Well, let me tell you, and I don't like to be there is no, I'll try to say this right. They're not done yet.
I know.
Until we see Trump sitting in the Oval Office out in the open, they're going to try to,
out in the open.
Yeah. Well, that's why I say it that way, because he's never left. He's never left, but they're going to
try.
They're going to try. Biden's most recent statement was that we need all. Oh my God, the most recent one was horrifying. I think it was even as close as yesterday. Did you hear what Biden said? He wants all states at the local level and cities now, no matter where you go to get your vaccination, you're handed $100.
If you're that desperate for money,
you get $100 now, though. But there was in the comment thread, so somebody said, "I'll do it for 1,000," and I'm like, "You cheap whore! I'm holding out for $1 million." I mean, I can control anything that would externally would ever happen to me, and then alter it. So hell yeah, I hate to tell you this, but I will get jabbed for $1 million if anybody's out there.
well,
Because I can take that chemical and I can follow it at the molecular level by knowing how to think deliberately and correctly, and it'll never take place in my body, whatever that they had intended. By the way, if it's just sterilizing me, I'm really good with that. I'm fine with that. No, I'm not trying to get anybody pregnant anymore. I never did.
Well,
I was going to add to that, but
the what I read about the jabs is that people that have compromised immune systems and that are not well, people like that have diabetes, and that's most of America. That's the crisis in America. The health crisis in America is diabetes. Right. And anybody that takes this jab is going to be dead within 2 years. And other people that were completely healthy, within 10 years, they will be dead because it takes and destroys your whole system. It takes over.
Right.
So
but we have to look at the why. So let's go back to all this systematic things through time. So we already passed all there's so I could go for 2, 3, 4, 5 hours straight and giving you the chronological news flashes and headlines about from the Alice in Wonderland project that happened under DC and in all continents around the world where we were rescuing children. I could go back to when we first got the wind of the med beds that are already coming out. They'll be coming out in Texas first and then Florida. I could go back to the Nephilim, which are the extraterrestrials or alien race that lives under Antarctic. I could go to how the Nazis were their food sources of choice is children, humankind. So the Nazis were taking humankind and walking them right to the Nephilim. The Nephilim were giving them advanced technologies that they used called zero-point energy, where they actually put it inside of their submarines in the 1940s, and they actually levitated out of the ocean and up and out of space and allegedly out to places. That story now on a Flat Earth series, we don't know exactly where those truths and untruths are. But the arc of all the information, this and another thing, ultimately does circle back to one thing, which is why? Why go to all the trouble? I mean, we each are breathing, and periodically, every 24 hours, every 36 hours, maybe those that are less fortunate, once every 10 days, have to eat. We have to drink water, I think, once at least every 3 days, or we die. So no matter how powerful that you are and what your agenda is against humankind, and how much power that you have, that you're in control of some of these systems like the Illuminati and stuff and the World Bank, no matter if you're that guy or if you're a little kindergartner girl in Milwaukee that doesn't know anything about any of these plans that would subvert her or end her or her parents or lock them up or take away their jobs or take away their breathing, or it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter who you are, how much power you have or what you don't have. We're all actually spending the same amount of time in doing what we're doing, and we're all doing it for our own reasons. So why would these people that have all this access to power and money and information subversion care so much about making sure everybody else is down from them or isn't going to have a quality of life like they have? Well, if they're spending all day long, Andrea, doing that, is their life quality? When they wake up in the morning and their maids and their mansions bring them their toast points and their hot tea, and they get to going with their phones and reaching out to subvert the people of the world, And then they go to bed, they take a couple shits during the day, and then by the time that they get to their master chamber and it's all velvet, and they go to sleep on their velvet pillow, has that day been exciting and thrilling and fun? Is that their life? Is that 30 years they're going to be doing that every day, trying to subvert people? I mean, is that a great way to live? Because they're living in the same amount of time that we are. So what I'm saying is this, and it's being facetious, is that it doesn't matter what other people are doing. It matters how you feel about it. So you have to take all this information and go, I don't give a shit. It's not going to affect me if I take back the reins of making sure that every day, hour by hour, checking in with myself and going, am I feeling good? Am I having a good time? Because they're not. Because if I was spending all my time right now, Andrea, for this entire time since Biden, they illegally swindled a U.S. election, if I'd been spending every day joining them and trying to pull the wool over y'all's eyes and trying to create hell in your lives, that would have been 8 months spent like that every day. And I haven't. I've been having fun. I've been nurturing. I've been being nurtured. I'm in good health. I have exciting ideas. So who really wins that tries to subvert somebody else? They don't win. They don't win. That's why the light always wins. So you don't have to worry.
Well, and
yeah.
Just the fact that my health has improved exponentially to the point that I feel 10 years younger, and I have the energy level I had when I was 40. I had 16 years. It's really, the gardening and
I'm saying I'm at 18. I have not. Honestly, my endurance is no less than it was at 18.
Well, I let.
But I work at it like I did a lot. So
yeah, but you've been doing this for a very long time, and
I've been doing it on purpose. I've been doing it on purpose so that
on purpose.
When
I didn't start till like February.
You didn't know better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't know. People think that what I'm talking about, I was talking about in the Patriot Party just yesterday or the day before. You guys can tell me when that was. That I wasn't bragging when I was talking about what I do for myself. Because the most you can ever love somebody else or be of benefit isn't sacrificing yourself. It's shoring up yourself. It's taking care of yourself. It's making sure that you're at your most operative activation. Then and therefore you become a telegraph system, an antenna, if you will, a great receiver, a trusted location of all the newest, best, great ideas that intercessionary beings and dimensions can flow to you that you can bring forth because you're not in the way. And by the way, when you work out, you take care of yourself early in the day, every day, that nagging thing in the back of your head isn't there. So now your jump off point is all cake. It's all icing. It's all cake. It's not, because we all have that inner voice in different ways about I should, but I should clean out the closet. I don't know. I mean, I know I should. I know it. I know. I should really give more to charities. I know I should really kinder to people when I'm driving. I shouldn't. I'm kind of short. Well, if only I could, but I'm not strong enough. And boy, you put a bunch of days and weeks and months and years like that together, and pretty soon that is your new definition of who you think that you're not, which, by the way, is just because you're not keeping up with who you've become. And so that's all I do. I'm not saying that I'm better than anybody else. I just have mastered the ability to take care of the shit that would bug me so that I can get on with the rest of the cake. And by the way, by the time that you see me, I'm way more available for all kinds of interaction. I'm not dragging my crap through the door, so it's all good. And I want everybody to get that activated so that they get out of their own way and get on with thought. I got a thing. Yeah, I know. Do you have something planned?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay.
We've been on for almost an hour and 40 minutes. So
yeah, he told me. He actually said 2 hours and so, but that's good enough. We appreciate you guys hanging with us. It's been a long time. Thanks, Andrea, for making yourself available in your busy break from loving everybody and always being so selfless. You always were. You always were the kindest person in the world. Always. I always was
Thank
like
you.
just astounded because I was never that way. I mean, now at 57, if you think this is kind and calm and adult like, Andrew can tell you pretty much at 18, I was
Wild boy.
I had a little bit of energy. So, but that's good. So maybe at 100, it'll finally.
Settle down.
I'm being easy on myself. When I get to 120, is my goal. I mean, not to end at 120, but when I get to 120, I want to have kind of like chilled out a little bit and take time to smell. No, I was kidding. I actually have a very balanced life. I'm open and receiving to inspired ideas, and I have all the energy and the wherewithal and the intellect to bring those things to manifestations by doing whatever comes like instinctually to me. And it is so phenomenally fun to watch the process of how ideas turn into real things. And I'm a big creator, not just of music, but of decks and plants and trees and farm, all kinds of great artwork. I've started painting again. And I mean, and this and books and, so.
I do my embroidery almost every day. I work on embroidery and which will turn into quilts, and that's my creative outlet. But my this next year is going to be interesting. My son has a friend that left Oregon, and it's taken a year for his mother to accept him coming back. And my ex and I are going to be guardians, and we're going to help this young man get through his last year of high school.
Oh, that's nice.
And Joseph will have a friend.
Just make sure that high school, that they don't demand that those children wear masks
Well,
or get vaccinated.
they currently don't have a policy for masks for the high school, but my son is going to school online, so there won't be a possibility of
Yeah,
that.
I mean, I've told people all along when I first started doing online stuff to help you guys and bring, helpful information in case that people either didn't have the creative notion to use the internet like the smart tool that it is, because we live in the age of information. It's really up to you to not be trying to create something to see how popular that you can get, to go
Yeah,
actually put in the right words into any browser and begin using this tool if and when they end up denying it to us or access to us. Because I mean, it does appear that something is going to come to a boil. If you thought 2020 was trying to be usurped. Like I say, I'm not stupid, and I got one eye open on both. But I mean, I've got the other shoe is not dropped because I'm not getting off my guard without letting it define me about the crappy, agendas that some of these leftover people might have. That's not to the benefit and welfare of the people. And I told people from the very beginning, I'm like, take all of your children out of school and bring them home right now, because the 1619 project alone, saying that America owes everybody an apology. By the way, 624,000 white young men around the age of 25 died in the Civil War to stop slavery in the United States. So if you want your fucking reparations, you already got 624,000 young white men that went to battle for you. So shut the fuck up about your blackness, about how terrible of a victim you are. I already gave you 624,000 white men. That's all you get. You don't get more money. We're not going to bail you out. And that's how I feel, and that's it. And you shouldn't go around life just dragging. Go ask Whitney Houston, Aretha Franklin, Oprah Winfrey, and Michael Robinson, who's masquerading as Michelle Obama, how much that they got to where they got to because of the victimness of never being okay and nobody giving them a fair shake and chance in life. Bullshit, Beyonce. You're a billionaire. You never, the people that say, oh, we're black and we don't get any opportunities, it's like, screw you, get off your fat ass and get out there and get to notions, follow your instincts. My God, nobody's putting you in a box. Out here in real America, blacks love whites. Gays
Right.
love straights. Old people love young people, and young people make way for old people that can't make it across the street or open the door on themselves. They gladly grab the cart for them, put the quarter in, and carry their bags out to the street. Mexicans, whites, gays, straights, Catholic, religious people, hippies. Doesn't really matter. In America, we go all over the place. Everybody is in love with each other. We're not fighting and hate each other out here. That's what the politics, that's what the people that are running for office, particularly on the other side, want you to think, so that you are so a house divided against itself cannot stand, like Abraham Lincoln. It's like, we are not divided. We all are in a love fest for humankind. We'll go way out of our way. German, French, Italian, even Chinese people, Russians, Africans, Latinos, and from all the states as well. You Canadians, we're crossing borders and lines for people all day long. We don't make a scene at Walmart. Those are planned videos where they set something up and then they swindle it and they broadcast it everywhere. Oh, look, it's horrible what's happening. It's like, stop paying people to respond to your Craigslist ad, and maybe we'll stop seeing a lot of that. I mean, it's not really happening, by the way, guys. There is no racism in America. There isn't.
No,
There
no.
isn't. There is not one black person that during the course, I don't care where I went in Kentucky right now, or any other person that would hurl an insult at me or anything. And if it looked like I fell and tripped, trust me, black people would come, they'd pick me up. And the same for me, for them. And that's the way it is in every state. So don't believe the bullshit. You know. Anyways, with that, we're going to say adieu. God bless you all. Bless yourselves by acknowledging that you understand that where we go one, we go all. But first, take care of yourself. Don't sacrifice your wants and needs and pleasures and desires for yourself first. Don't subjugate yourself like you owe something to somebody else, because you don't, because this is your life and you came here to have a fucking blast. I really dropped the F-bomb a lot this time, and it wasn't fraud. I didn't say fraud once. Well, now I've said it twice. But you can tell, I'm whole. I've kept up with who I've become. I'm unabashedly, unashamed, living out here on the edge, deliberately and blatantly. If you need courage and you need a dose of it, well, you got me in the Signal. You got me in the Patriot Party. We're about to go back on tour in August. Later in August, we start. And Shania's in Vegas and just started her residency back. So we'll be going and doing and stuff like that. But I won't be very far away, and I'll keep up on things as we go, especially and if you got flat earth things, you want to drop them into things, you go do your investigation, you bring back to Andrea and I some really cool nuggets that you found really thrilling and interesting about flat earth. I mean, it's a pretty big, wild thing,
It's growing.
It's life-changing.
The flat earth believers, it used to be just a few people, and now it really is growing. So that's something. But one of the things that I have to say is that when you impart love to everybody, that truly is the human nature inside of us, is to love everybody. We don't have an evil nature to be criminals and go out and hurt people, and this, we love each other, and that's all over the world. It's not just the United States that are friendly and open and taking care of people. It's we need to have joy, enjoy our day, have love for everybody, and the vibrations will lift by doing those things.
And don't feel relegated or remanded. I'm not talking about you should have love for everybody, and I'm not talking about you should follow the commandments. I'm not talking about you should honor your. I'm not talking about you should for some kind of counsel that's going to reward you in an afterlife. Hell no. I'm talking about now, because the universe. David Weiss, who is this flat earther, is brilliant. And if he and I got together, which I have a feeling that gap was going to, because I just got wind of him, and I have a feeling that you're going to see us on a side-by-side, David Weiss and I, because he understands that regardless of all these notions and all of these revelations, that we're the outcomes of what we're seeing, what manifests in each of our lives is only the fallout from thought that slowed down into matter. And so if you begin to deliberately select and then not include thoughts that are doubtful, desperation, regretful, disparaging, let yourself off the hooks, for God's sakes. There's nothing that you're supposed to be doing. There's no wrong way to get this done. And you've got forever to do that. It's not just this lifetime. You're reborn here physically just hundreds of times. So
Right.
stop making a big hot mess of it all and just get on to having a good time. That's what you wanted anyways. And let me tell you, when you do, the whole molecules that of which that you're made begin to speed up. And when they do, you become a happy conduit and recipient of brand new ideas that you weren't even a match to hearing or understanding or feeling before. So it's exponential. There are perks along the way, gifts that come with the new of you letting yourself off the hook. The more you can let yourself off the hook, the easier that you can be about it all. The more can get to you finally, because that's why you give a kid allowance. It's money that you give them so they can expand their world. They can go and buy more. They can travel further. Sometimes they get in trouble, but we won't mention that. But when you give somebody allowance, it's inside the word allowance. So allow yourself more time, more freedom. Stop putting a clock on things that you felt like, well, I really should do this. Watch what you say. Words are important. You would never hear me disparage myself. I would never say anything that was doubtful, that I regret anything. I don't. I know the value of my words that are thoughts, only my thoughts that slow down a bit. Imagine how fast that my thoughts are going if my mouth can work this quickly to make sense of it all, because it's really fast up there. And you see some smoke coming out. My hair is really black. It just turns white at the beginning of each morning because all the thoughts that I've had. But anyway, like that one. And my teeth too. They start out black and they end up white. But and the freckles, I can't explain those. So anyway, but you see, just be light and fun. It's okay. It's good. And then new opportunities can avail themselves to you. If you don't smell like success, if you don't smell like, oh, everything's going my way already, then things can't begin going your way, because you keep noticing more. You're putting more energy and more you're investing more in the still missing part of it. You're saying, well, I would feel that way if only these conditions would change so that I can finally let myself go and be happy. It's like, no, that's not how it works. You've got to get to some place, use anything you can in your vicinity to get happy now. And then all the stuff that you also like that makes you feel that way can finally find you, can sniff you out. Because if you don't smell like it, it can't get near you.
It's a magnet.
You keep insisting it's missing. Yeah, it's
really is a magnet of your thoughts. And if you,
it is, and it ripples out.
When those thoughts come that make you feel uncomfortable, and this isn't, you don't feel good, then you say, that's not what I want. What I want is this. And you create your segment. This is what I want.
Right.
Dream about it.
If you have to slow it down, which you don't have to, people are like, I have to have a mantra. I have to have a room with incense. I have to be in a copper. I have to be in a copper. I have to have the pyramid and the crystals. I have to put them in my mouth and then my ears and who knows whatever.
Do the little bell thing.
I gotta put it all just right. I gotta make sure I'm in the right place. Oh, I didn't have time today to get centered, so I'll get centered tomorrow because the conditions didn't line up. Bullshit. No, what you do is you just before your feet hit the floor in the morning from your bed, it's really very simple, you guys. This is how you get here. You just merely start. You set the tone at the beginning of the day, because you just came out of the vortex, by the way. The vortex is where you never bring the other 90% of you. So the whole of you never comes to earth. So you are actually communing with your whole while you sleep. So as you come out of that, the best way to stay in the unlimited, powerful place all day long, where everything that's amazing can find you, that's on your wish list, called the vortex, you just don't drag yesterday's business of your mind back in with you for that new day. So how you do that is you either think nothing, which a lot of people, they find that hard. What I do is I just look around at the stuff that I've placed in the room that I really appreciate. Even though I've done it before, I use it as a tool, as a wormhole, if you will. I've mentioned this before. I have this special little book with the Singleton thing on it, which I keep if I write songs, you'll see song lyrics there. The last one was Let Freedom Ring for the Texas Tenors. Anyways, if I took that, it used to be, and I've shown this before, that here, I'll back up. There I am. So the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. So from here straight across to here, flat Earth. So you think that you'd be traveling for the shortest distance. Nope. Now the 2 points are touching. And I did that in 1 second. So you don't have to travel at all to get this done. All you have to do is use any tool that's in your vicinity that makes you feel good and just distract yourself. All other thoughts, put them aside and just keep focusing on that puppy. I love that puppy. Why do you love that puppy? It's just his hair feels so good, and I kind of like his breath sometimes, and he just seems to need me, and it's really cool. And I like to play, and it's really interesting to watch. He's growing so much. I mean, spend 17 seconds on that. Multiply that times 4 to 68 seconds. By the way, 68 seconds, a sustained thought for 68 seconds will change a signal in the vicinity of miles from you where things can begin to travel towards you. So you've got to stop noticing things missing and distract yourself from it. You say, but I have to. That's my reality. It's reality right now. I can't. People say, get your head out of the clouds. You need to face reality. No, they're lying because they were lied to. Never face a reality that you don't like.
Yeah.
Never. Distract yourself from it. I swear to God, that's not what we were taught. You have to distract yourself from it. And in the interim of you not making it a big hot mess and worrying about all that crap that you say is going to overtake you, when you stop looking at it or thinking about it at all, guess what? Every time, 100% of the time, it dissipates while you're not looking. And the next time you go back to look at the hot mess you were concerned about, it's taking care of itself. It's gone. Do you know why? Because this isn't real, what's happening. This is all an illusion, and things are materializing based on your focus on it. So if you can just distract yourself long enough, the natural baseline for you is easiness and great times and abundance all day long. You've been making way too much of a mess, trying to stronghold and white knuckle every situation to bend it to your liking, or you've decided that you're not going to be perfectly happy. Well, it can never be that way, because as long as you insist that thing is really bad, the universe can only keep sending you stuff that feels like that, because it thinks there's no way somebody that is that powerful as you would ever focus that long on something if they didn't really want it. You see how that works? So the universe thinks that you like that stuff that you're focusing on and making a big hot mess, so it keeps sending you more of it. So you have to understand the universe doesn't know your sense of humor, your sarcasm, and your facetiousness. It doesn't understand that you don't like this shit at all, that you keep talking about all day long, that you hate so much. Because you're talking about it all the time. The universe thinks there's no way they'd be talking about something that they don't like that much unless they really loved it. So I'm going to send them more of it. So you've got to take a break from the shit that you say that you really don't like long enough where the stuff that you really do want to experience can find its way to you. I think that I felt a tipping point in the people listening right now. I think I felt a shift. And the people that aren't here listening live, they'll be able to access this in time, and they'll get to it, and these things ripple out. So we did it.
What I do.
Thanks for entertaining me. I got off on a.
You notice in the Patriot group, I post flowers all the time.
Purple
flowers. Good morning. I post flowers, and it's because for me, flowers just really resonate, and purple flowers, of course. I love purple. And so those are the things that I look at in the morning. Yes, beautiful things. I'm not at home, so I don't get to use my cup.
Ha. Oh, there we go.
But I look at flowers and pictures of flowers, and every morning, and then I do my deep breathing. I want a whole set of those. I'm going to go in North Carolina. It's called Replacements Limited, and they have all the China, and I want to go get a set of those.
If you're going to say the word China, you got to say it like Trump. You got China flu. It's Kung flu. It was the Kung flu. Okay, well, with that, we're going to bid everybody adieu. Thanks, Andrea, once again, because people can feel us, and that's what it's mostly about. Go check out Flat Earth crap and bring it back to us. Check out David Weiss. I was just hip to him by Donald. Donald, thank you for that. It wasn't the first time but anyways, it was nice, and that app has a lot of interesting things. It has a real lifetime clock that shows the flat Earth and how the hours go and how the sun rotates around this half sphere dome that they've got over us. Allegedly, I'm not going to say that because I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
I say that I know a lot of stuff, and I don't know. I have to ask myself, does it matter? And I say no, because I say about Earth to a sphere to a flat, it doesn't matter. It seems to be large enough that even in one lifetime, you can't be in every state of the United States all at the same time. So what does it matter if it goes around or if it goes straight over? It doesn't really matter, because in a lifetime, you're still going to have to like perfect how, if you're feeling really great that day in that moment where you are. So if they've lied to us and they pull the wool over our eyes, it doesn't really matter, because if you've been harnessing manifestation and knowing how to create the stuff that creates worlds already where you're located, none of that crap matters. What people may be subduing other people and doing with all that madness, and they're squandering their whole lifetime trying to do that. Shouldn't be your business anyways. You're busy over here living and creating. So we'll get to the bottom of it. We'll find out if we're flying through space or on somebody's coffee table on a raindrop. Doesn't really matter if you're not having a good time and feeling really great and joyful. Then check out now. Just leave. You know, that's a terrible way to end. But anyways, I mean it with all my heart. Okay, Andrea, thank you so much. Give your mom kisses for me. And we'll come back. We'll circle back. That Ginger, that press secretary, has ruined the phrase "circle back."
Yeah.
I add a word in there. I go circle jerk back, circle jerk, and that's probably way too dirty for you. But that's when, never mind. You'll look it up. Some people are probably laughing in the comments. Circle jerk back. When you think of the press secretary, that Ginger, that looks like she's Mark Zuckerberg with a wig on. Yeah, her.
I saw those pictures.
The circle back Ginger. Put the word jerk in there. Circle jerk back. That's really a good one. I love it. Anyways, you don't need to send me a check. You can use that for free. Okay, guys. Nutty as usual. We love you all. We'll talk to you soon. Share this broadcast wherever you want to, for as long as it's up. Bye.
So